I'm talking about why seller financing makes sense. If you invest in real estate or you're thinking about investing in real estate, when done right, seller financing is the fastest and easiest money you'll ever make. As a real estate agent who specializes in owner finance transactions, I often get asked, what's the advantage of seller financing? So in today's video, I'm going to focus on how to owner finance a house and how seller financing works. Hi, I'm Ty the Real Estate Guy, and if you'd like to stay up to date on the latest real estate tips and trends, subscribe to my channel below and ring that little bell to be notified each time I post new videos. So I'm going to start with a story, but before I do, I need to mention that owner finance is the same thing as seller finance. Okay, so several years ago, when the housing market was down, I was struggling to sell my house. You know, the one that I lived in. My beautiful wife and I had already purchased a 2-acre home site, and we were already in the process of building our dream home. We were feeling anxious because several months had passed, and not only was our home not selling, we weren't even getting any showings, and we really didn't want to drop the price of our home any further than we already had because we really want to take all that equity with us to the new property. That's when one of my realtor friends asked, why don't you just seller finance the home? At that time, I didn't even know what seller finance was, and I certainly didn't know how to do it. When he told me all the advantages of owner financing our home, it seemed too good to be true. After some deep prayer and meditation, we decided to list our home for sale as seller finance. We sold the house in less than a week for $10,000 more than what we had previously had it listed for. We didn't have to pay a dime of the buyer's closing cost, and we were able to time the move from that house to our new house to the precise day that we chose. It was a huge victory, and we ended up making approximately $50,000 more on the house than if we had just sold it traditionally. The best part of the story is that I've been able to duplicate this process for myself on multiple occasions, and I've been fortunate to help others do the same. Simply put, owner finance is one of the best ways, if not the best way, to make money in real estate. As a homeowner or a real estate investor, this could be the most important video you ever watch if you're looking to maximize the amount of money you can make in real estate and protect yourself at the same time. You'll want to watch this video all the way to the end because I'm saving the best for last. Even if you're not a real estate investor and you're just looking to maximize the profit on the sale of your own home, like I did on my first seller finance transaction, this video could change your life and you could put tens of thousands of additional dollars in your pocket in just one transaction. Your mind will be blown at how much more money you will make by selling your home on owner finance as opposed to selling it traditionally. Now, I chose to do this video because most people don't even know what seller finance is or that it's even an option. This is shocking to me because it's the best way to sell a home, period. So let's start with the basic definition of owner finance. Seller financing is when a person purchases a house directly from the owner of the property as opposed to using the bank or a conventional mortgage lender. It works similar to traditional financing through a bank, but the buyer pays the seller monthly over an agreed period of time with a specific interest rate and terms. Even though the owner of the home, aka the seller, benefits the most from this type of transaction, a majority of the time, owner finance is beneficial to both the buyer and the seller. So here's the advantages of seller financing. Number one, super fast closings. On seller financing, you can close in just days. When you sell a home traditionally, the closing usually takes about 45 days and sometimes longer. On owner finance, there's no waiting on the underwriter, the bank, or the legal department to approve and process the loan. You can close on your home and have cash in hand in less than a week. Number two, for someone looking to buy a home on seller finance, you don't need a good credit score. Really, you don't need credit at all. As a matter of fact, this is probably the main reason why many buy a home on seller finance. As a seller or the investor, you're probably thinking, why would I want to sell my house to someone with poor credit? Well, first of all, most buyers on these type of transactions have bad credit or no credit at all. They are people who have a good job and plenty of money, but can't buy the home traditionally. As we progress through this video, you'll get a better understanding of why this isn't something you should really be concerned with. Number 3, no closing costs for the buyer or the seller. Well, that's not 100% accurate, so let me clarify. Lenders make pretty good money, and there's a lot of fees associated with buying a house traditionally, including things like an appraisal. Well, guess what? On seller finance, you don't have to pay for an appraisal or all those lender fees. This is a huge advantage financially for both the buyer and the seller because closing costs can easily be $8,000 to $10,000. Why is this an advantage for the seller? Well, you don't have to worry about the buyer asking you to pay some or all of the closing cost. That being said, there still will be some title fees which are normally paid by the buyer. But we're talking about a few $100s in closing costs versus thousands of dollars. This could put an additional $5,000 to $10,000 in your pocket. Number 4, you can sell the home as is. This means no home inspection. As the owner or the seller, this is another huge advantage because not only does it save you money on repairing and replacing, but it also saves you the hassle of fixing things yourself or scheduling someone to come out. So that's cool. Before I continue, can I ask a quick favor? Will you please give this video a thumbs up? I would appreciate it more than you know, and that thumbs up will help others see that this video is helpful. Thanks. Number 5, as a seller, you can ask for a minimum of 5 or 10% down. On a $300,000 property, that's a down payment from the buyer of $15,000 to $30,000. Now, a lot of investors are happy to collect a small down payment of just a few $1,000s, and that's just fine. You know, to each his own. Personally, I like to have a little more skin in the game from the buyer, and I'll wait an extra few weeks if I have to for a buyer who can put down a larger down payment. As a side note, you will need to pay your realtor. In most cases, this is 3%. So on a $300,000 home, that's a commission of $9,000. So if your buyer puts 10% down, and my buyers often do, you'll walk away at closing with $21,000 in pocket. This is a very good thing because the larger down payment allows you to buy more properties quicker. Just put the money in your real estate checking account until you have enough money to buy another home. Remember that you can't just buy a home and sell it the next day. You need to rent it out for at least 1 year first. This is not really a big deal because you can usually sell the home a year later for more than what you paid for it. And that, once again, just puts more money in your pocket. Number 7, no mess and no stress. What do I mean? Well, if you've ever owned a rental property, really, even if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard the horror stories. Well, it can be hell. Constant phone calls and complaints from the tenants, trying to get into the house to turn on and off the sprinklers or change filters, mowing the lawn, repairing and replacing things. Not only is this incredibly annoying, but it takes time away from the things you enjoy, and even worse, it's money out of your pocket. Sure, you could pay someone to manage the property, but that's money out of your pocket too. Sometimes I wonder if the money earned on my rental properties is worth it. With seller finance, the client is buying the home from you. It's basically the same thing as when you buy a home from the bank. The buyer is responsible for all the maintenance of the home. It's basically the same thing as when you buy a home from the bank. The buyer is responsible for all maintenance of the home. As the investor, this is awesome because it's completely 100% hands off. What about collecting the monthly payment, you ask? Well, you hire an escrow company to collect the payment and the late fees if needed. Yeah, they charge a few dollars each month, but the cost is often passed on to the buyer. I have a quick question for you. What's the main reason you'd like to invest in real estate? And where are you from? I'd like to know. Please take a quick moment and leave a comment below. Okay, moving on. Number 8, you set the terms of the transaction. Yes, it's creative financing and there may be some give and take, but for the most part, as the investor or the seller, you draw the lines. The buyer will sign a promissory note that spells out all the terms of the loan. Things like payment due date, the mortgage rate, the penalties for missing payments, and etc. This includes the ability to remove the buyer from the property if they stop paying for whatever reason. You retain the title, so from a financial standpoint, the buyer defaulting can be a huge advantage because you get to keep the down payment, any money that was paid to you, and most importantly, you get to keep the house. Then you can resell the home, and usually for more than what you sold it for the first time. That being said, I always do all that I can to help the buyer keep the home. Seller financing is a great investment, and there's no need to take advantage of anyone. Number 9, as I mentioned earlier, you can sell the home for more than what it's actually worth. This is a normal practice, and it actually benefits both the buyer and the seller. For the buyer, you never want to pay more for a house than what it's worth. But look at it this way. In most situations, you're buying the house on seller finance because you not only don't qualify to buy a house right now, but you won't qualify to buy a home for several years. It's likely that by the time you could afford to buy a home, the value of that property would be much higher than what you paid for it today. For the seller, the advantage is obvious. You're selling the house for more than what it's worth today. This not only increases your profit margin on the sale of the home, but it also increases the buyer's monthly payment and your profitability. Number 10, you can charge a higher interest rate. So as an investor, let's say you get a 4.5 fixed 30-year rate on that home. You can charge the buyer 5.5%, 6%, or maybe even more, depending on the situation. I usually offer a better rate if the buyer's willing to put more money down. The higher the rate is that you charge, the more money you'll earn on the monthly basis. A hidden gem for the seller is that each month when a payment is made, your principal is paid down faster than the buyer's principal, so you're also making money on the back end. Number 11, little to no risk. As the investor and the owner of the property, you need to be protected. We take all offers through a real estate attorney to make sure the contract is as airtight as possible. Our contracts are written so you can't lose the house through some form of deceit or trickery by the buyer. With seller finance transactions, you don't have to worry about squatters like you do with a rental property. Unfortunately, bad things do happen, even to good people. So for those who can no longer make the monthly payment, we've developed a system that helps them move on peacefully without damaging your property. Like I said earlier, seller financing is very profitable. This allows us to help those in default even when we have to kick them out. A bonus to the seller is that the fee we charge for a late payment is higher than what the bank would charge. So I don't mind if my buyers are late on their payment because I just earn more money on those particular months. If you're lucky, your buyer will be late all the time. If you're a buyer, just pay on time so you can avoid this fee. I know this sounds confusing, and actually there's a lot more to it, like adding prepayment penalties to ensure you receive that monthly profit throughout the entire agreement. Because seller financing can be tricky, you will absolutely want a professional on your side. Most realtors don't know how to do seller financing, and some who say they do don't know how to protect you or how to maximize your profit. So make sure you find an agent who specializes in these types of transactions in your area. And just so you know, I'm not trying to discredit other agents, but I've watched top-notch realtors struggle to do these type of deals. There's actually a very small handful of agents who know how to really protect you and really maximize your profit margin. If you're looking to really make money with seller finance, find an agent who specializes in these types of transactions. Personally, even though I've done multiple transactions and I know what I'm doing, I still have a real estate attorney review all of my contracts before finalizing anything. And not only have I helped others through the process of owner financing, I personally own multiple properties on seller finance, and of course, I'm always looking for new opportunities. In the end, when the buyer finally pays the house off, releasing you as the owner, you'll receive a large chunk of money and you can do it all over again. I was able to purchase 2 properties with the money I earned from the sale of my last house. Even the average person with an average income can become a millionaire by seller financing properties. But if you're a serious investor and you have the ability to invest in multiple properties, you will be shocked at how financially beneficial seller finance can be and how little risk is involved. Well, that's seller finance in a nutshell. Hopefully, you can now see why owner finance is the best way to invest in real estate. Whether you're looking to sell your personal home or you're an investor, seller finance is the obvious choice. If you live here in Utah, I would love to help you out. To schedule an appointment to meet with me personally, feel free to call or text me anytime. If there's something in this video that stood out to you as being helpful, or if you have questions, please leave a comment below. Sincerely, I want to hear from you. If you know someone who's ready to sell their home or thinking about investing in real estate, please share this video with them. If you'd like to learn more about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, subscribe to my channel below and ring the bell to be notified each time I post new videos. If you found this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty the Real Estate Guy. Thanks again for watching, and please don't forget to hit that little bell below. It'll make you feel good.